So you're probably familiar with VWAP, volume weighted average price, but have you heard about VWAP's brother, Anchor? Anchored VWAP is another indicator that we can use on our charts that stems from the VWAP indicator, the volume weighted average price, and it could be a big benefit to us and our own trading depending upon the time frames and what we're specifically looking for. So by the end of this video, you're going to hopefully understand what Anchored VWAP is, how to pull it up on your charts, and then how you can use that, customize it, and benefit in your own trading. All right, so first things first, we are looking right now at my trading view layout. I'm gonna get myself out of the way off the screen so we have got a big workstation to go off of here. We're looking at SPY. There's essentially minimal stuff on the screen. There's a volume down here. There's a volume profile on the right-hand side. There's some videos already on the channel covering the volume profile and even the anchored volume profile if you wanna check those out after this video. But don't get distracted. Let's talk about the anchored VWAP. Go to the indicator section, top of the screen. And again, we are also using TradingView, okay? There's a link to TradingView underneath this video in the description box and the pinned comment, I believe. If you were to click on that, sign up, you can follow along with TradingView. There also are paid plans if you want some of the extra features, and that those features may or may not change over time. Just be aware of that. You may also be able to get Anchored VWAP on a different platform, but we are using TradingView in this video. So if you want to follow along with this exact platform that we also do pay for because of what they have to offer and indicators like this, there will be a link down below. Okay, now I'm going to go to the search bar and I'm going to start typing in Anchored. Okay, here's VWAP Auto Anchored. I'm going to click on this. Before I'm actually going to start really quick, add to favorites so we can go back to it quickly. This little question box right here could be a good resource for you. So if you want to learn more about the Anchored VWAP, this is where you'd want to go. Now, the Anchored VWAP in a nutshell is going to display the volume weighted average price for a defined period. Now, it says auto anchored, but we can customize that. Don't worry about it. Not a problem. There's a ton of ways to customize it. That's what we're going to get into here. And this kind of goes into detail of all the options that you have at your disposal. Okay. So if I click on Auto Anchored VWAP, then I go up to the top left of my screen where now you see it's on the screen here. See how it's like popping up? There's some lines and some stuff going on. Top left, drop down menu, my indicators. I'm going to go into VWAP AA. Okay, this little hide button. There's a settings button. There's a remove. I'm going to go into settings. Now in the middle of our screen, we have the settings. I personally do not use upper and lower bands. You may. Okay. I'm going to get rid of all the upper and lower bands on the VWAP, okay? Now, I can go into the inputs. This is what's interesting. So it'll auto-anchor it for you, but what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and customize it. So here's where things get a little bit more, I don't want to say confusing, but it might. So with the Anchored VWAP, think about this. We are anchoring or starting our VWAP calculation from a given point, okay? You might want to do that from the highest high on the screen, the lowest low, the highest volume, the past week, month, year, quarter, after earnings, after a stock split. These are all periods that you could anchor the VWAP to. Instead of giving yourself the VWAP over a given period on our charts, that's just kind of averaging out big ups and downs, gap ups, earnings, all different time frames, you might want to only focus in on this quarter. And so you might want to anchor it to past the last earnings on a given stock or whatever. In my case, I might want to only focus on the month, okay? Or the year. Let's go to the year to make it easy. So now I'm going to anchor it to the year. Click on OK. Let me get rid of the background here. Cool. So now what we have is this blue line is our VWAP, our anchored VWAP that starts in 2023. So it's doing the volume weighted average price calculation, but for 2023. So for me, as someone who might look at this as maybe an investing strategy, I know for this, or for maybe a swing trade strategy, I know that for this year, we are way above VWAP, right? Showing that we've got some good price strength to the upside. And in my calculations, my style, my strategy is a return to the mean. And so if I'm a return to the mean investor, I am not going to be buying stocks up here because we're so far above VWAP. But if we were to come down and maybe get down towards the VWAP for this year, I might now be much more interested in buying stocks at that point. Okay, this is just an example, by no means a specific strategy. But you can see how it's starting to get interesting, how you can customize this. I think it's one of the coolest indicators to use because of that customization, you can literally customize this and anchor this to whatever time frame you would like. Let's go to look at a stock, for example. Let's look at Tesla. Okay, go to Tesla. Here's the VWAP. Now let me get rid of some of these lines. Let me get rid of the drawings in the chart so you guys can make it's easier to see. Let's go and anchor Tesla to the latest earnings. Go back into our VWAP AA indicator, go to settings, go to inputs, go to anchor period, and let's go to earnings. Okay, now it's going to anchor the VWAP to the latest earnings. Now what we just had, and it was actually very useful for a couple of weeks here, and it could have been a good trade to the downside, was a gap down after earnings, okay? And then price of Tesla stayed it literally rejected off of VWAP for weeks, and it stayed weak, couldn't get back above the anchored VWAP after earnings, and then saw a big move to the downside. And so this is, again, a situation where post-earnings, there was a trade here. You could potentially craft an entire trading strategy based off of the anchored VWAP off of recent earnings reports. So wait for earnings. Once earnings comes out, now we don't have any earnings risk, and now we can trade or potentially invest off of this stock that have had big moves up and down and use the VWAP, the anchored VWAP, as a guide to support and resistance. And you'll see that many times it actually works quite well. Let's go to another example here. This is Enphase. So we had earnings on Enphase back here end of July. Enphase gaps down after earnings, and if we anchor that VWAP to the earnings period, we then see that Enphase tries to get back above VWAP and it rejects, and then has a big time move to the downside and is clearly trending down and has been an amazing short post earnings, as it has no longer or has not been able to get back above the anchored VWAP. So hopefully right here, you guys are starting to see the power of the anchored VWAP and how you can customize this to any trading and investing strategy that you have and how it could benefit you. We'll leave links down below to TradingView if you want to get access to the platform we're using in this video and use the anchored VWAP in your own trading and investing, as it may be something that is useful to you. It does not mean it's the best thing since sliced bread, but it could be an extra tool or a really nice tool or a sharp tool that you can add to your arsenal. Thanks so much for watching. Links and resources down below. Like always, hit that thumbs up button, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.